Back this morning, when it comes to history, Evansville is rich in sports stories and success, too. There may be one decade, though, that stands out, and this week those teams and accomplishments are being celebrated. This morning, Ron Eaton and Tom Lonberg join me to talk about Evansville sports in the 60s. Good morning, guys. Thanks for sitting down.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
So let's talk about this event that's happening this Thursday. We're focusing on the 60s. Why is that for people who are youngins like me?
Well, you can tell him. What's that based on?
Well, the 1960s, we're having an exhibit on the 60s in general in Evansville, but this is a part of that offering, looking at the decade where basketball championships, football championships, college basketball championships were won in Evansville, and really a dominant decade for Evansville sports. Absolutely.
And Ron, you were obviously a part of that. You were on that 67 team, you say, right?
I was a small part of that team, but I had a really good seat.
But we're talking about two high school basketball titles in the 60s. We had Bosse in 62, right? And then North in 67. And then UE had a lot of success with a different name in that
They had
decade.
3 national championships in the 60s, which is unbelievable if you think about it for a college that size. And the way I look at this event, and I kind of helped organize it and had a lot of fun calling guys and getting people lined up. There are going to be a lot of local legends sitting in the audience that aren't even on the panel. They're just people that everybody has heard of. And the way I look at it is if you're from my generation where you used to put baseball cards in bicycle spokes to make them sound like a motorcycle, and you'd take a wooden bat, and if it cracked, you'd put a nail in it, put tape around it, get a few more swings out of it. That's kind of our generation. And if somebody's from that generation, this could be the last time we ever get to sit around and talk about growing up then, what it was like, seeing all these great athletes and talking about the teams. That's why I'm excited about it.
And who's going to be there on this panel with you, Ron? You're going to lead a discussion, at least with a couple guys that'll be up there.
Yeah,
with
they'll
you.
kind of be on the stage and it's centered around them, but there'll be other people talking too. But Tom Tooley is in the Indiana Journalism Hall of Fame, covered sports down here for years and years. I talked to him on the phone a couple days ago. He's got some great stories. I can't wait to hear them. I didn't want to hear them all. I said, just tease me with them, and he did. And then Bob Ford was on the 67 team, tremendous player. In my opinion, I don't think anyone has carried a team the way he carried it to the state championship, and I can't wait to hear him talk too.
And Tom, this is a big thing for the museum, obviously happening this Thursday, and like you brought up, in large part, it's the celebration of the 60s in Evansville for the entire museum.
It is. The 1960s was a turbulent decade, but also a decade where a lot of important things happened. So we're celebrating that this year, really, with art shows and a history show right now. We're really excited about the panel discussion. We would ask that people call the museum at our number to make advanced reservations, because seating is limited this Thursday, and we expect a big crowd.
Right, this event's free. It's another reason why I'm sure the crowd is expected to be so big.
It's a free event, and like I said, the meet and greet, you get to go around, talk to these guys, maybe get autographs, things like that, and then we've got some really neat topics to talk about that everybody's going to remember.
So for people who may not remember this stuff, or it's jogging their memory, what was most memorable to you during the 60s of all these teams and the basketball that was in this city?
One thing that means a lot to me, and we're going to get into this, I'm anxious to hear what people say about this, just playing in Roberts Stadium. I don't know if people realize this, but back then at least, if there was a real big high school game, like Rex Mundy was playing North or Bosse was playing Harrison, they moved it to the stadium. So we played 4, 5, 6, and we had the holiday tournament there. I got to run through that tunnel, which is really an experience. And just in that stadium, and usually it was full. Like the sectionals, 10,000 people would be sitting in the stadium watching a sectional. You don't see that anymore with class basketball. So it was really cool, and that's what I remember, and there'll be a lot of other things too. Bosse Field, I mean, we got to play our baseball there in high school. So it's going to be pretty cool.
Right, so a lot of memories being relived and a lot of history that deserves it. Thank you guys for sitting down with me.
Thank you.
Once again, that's Thursday at the Evansville Museum of